And today we're going to make this wonderful, cute layout all about Christmas cookies. And as you can see, I have scattered across this page little Christmas cookies. I'm going to be adding another one down here, probably in this corner here, because I like to do odds. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's an even number, so I'll throw one down here as number 7. But just to show you, this is the second page of the layout. We'll be doing the first page of the layout, which will be do a reverse design like this. So this is our reverse design. We're going to be using several different papers today. We're going to be using this one from Coordinations. This is our background paper, and it is called Mary. It's by Coordinations, which is a branch of American Crafts. We're going to be using some American Craft papers. These are the papers we're going to be using this Christmas: Noel, Merry Bright, Happy Holidays, Ho Ho Ho, Cheer, Joy, that pattern paper, which also the back of it is we're going to be using this pine tree, which is the back of that. We're going to be using these two pieces of paper, and that is the holly and the plaid, which, as you know, as you can see, it's a double-sided paper also, so we're getting more bang for our buck using double-sided paper. We're also going to be using this paper from Basil. This is the walnut paper. This is going to be our 4x6 photo frames. And then we're going to be using some neat things. We're going to be using a stamp set called Life Sweet. It's an older stamp set that I have, and we're going to be using the two cookies. There's cupcakes and milkshakes and ice cream cones and lemonade and other sentiments on this stamp set. As you can see, I don't have a huge collection, but I have quite a collection of stamps, and right now I'm holding them in these CD cases. Empty CD cases. So that's what I'm putting my stamps in right now. We're also going to be using a brand new product that I've got from Hero Arts. It's a Stampin' Cuts. It's a clear stamp with matching dies, and we're going to be using this die here. So I will go ahead, and before we start on this page layout, I want to say that if there's any shaking in the camera, I apologize. I'm set up in a different location, and I'm just on a table, and I have my camera kind of balanced perfectly on here. So let's get started putting our page together. So let's put these by the way, for those of you who keep up with my Kiwi Lane, I am using the Paisley Place line this time, and I'm using all 6 pieces of the Paisley Place. These are all the A's, 1A, 2A, and 3A that I'm using for the first page. I use 1A, 1B, 2B, and 3B on the other page that I showed you. So let's start with our page layout. First, we're going to go ahead, and I've already inked these, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some stamping, we're going to be doing some embossing, we're going to be doing some die cutting. So that's going to be the majority of our episode today, is doing those things. So we're going to go ahead and throw this page together fairly quickly. So we're going to just line this up in that top right-hand corner and the left-hand corner, get it lined up. And there we go. We got our nice sentiment across the side. We're going to be doing a little title page down on this side. Now, for this one, we're going to come down, we're going to come up about 4 inches and make this line. We're going to do a little illusion, too, with these papers. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So we're going to bring this 1, 2, 3, 4 inches up, which just gets that right above there. We'll line it up on this side. That'll make sure that's straight on the other side. Put that down. Then we're going to take our holly. We're going to be setting it right on top of this one. Okay, now as you know, this is a nice wide die. I mean, die cut, well, it's hand cut die cut. It's not a die cut, it's a hand cut. Fussy cutting that I cut out of this with that template. But this is a very narrow one. So what we're going to be doing is, normally I tell you, lay this down in the middle, and that makes that really short looking. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring this down and we're going to tape it like just right above the line. So this looks wider, this looks a little narrower, and kind of balances it off better. So that's what we're going to be doing there. So we're going to put our tape down here on this plaid design. I love working with same companies in double-sided paper because you can find paper that matches and coordinates well. And that's what this set does. It really goes well together. And what I did is when I picked out these papers, I picked out this piece of paper which has these two prints and this piece of paper which had these two prints, and I thought, what do I do for background and what do I do for the paper? And I thought, you know, bring in the craft, and that's where this walnut paper comes in for those. And then I want to pick a paper that's this dark berry on here, not the real light one, not the medium one, but the dark berry. And I found this Mary by Coordinations that just fit perfectly. So we're going to set this aside and we're going to make some other things like our cookies. So I got a simple stamping block here. We have our cookies. We're just going to peel those off and stick those down on here. We're going to be fussy cutting those out. What I like about these stamps is the stamps on one side, these are rubber stamps. I like those. They make a crisp, clean set, but the graphic is actually on the top of it. So it's not a clear photopolymer stamp. You can actually see what you're going to be stamping. And we're going to be stamping several along here. What I'm going to be using is a Ranger's Archival ink in jet black. And we're going to be making our Christmas cookies. If there's a little noise in the background, we have someone downstairs of this house making actually Christmas cookies tonight. So you might hear a mixer go on or something like that. And I just want to show you what this does. When you pull this up, look at that nice, crisp, clean image. That is because of the photopolymer does really nice stamping, but I think the red rubber gives a better stamp. And we're going to be making several of these. See if we can squeeze 4 sets on here. Get 6 more. Then what we'll do is we'll leave 5 for this page and put 1 on the other page. We're squeezing them in here close together. Might be okay, we got that one on. I don't think we're going to be able to do another one. Let's see, that's 6. That should be plenty. So, and then what I usually do, we'll let that dry for a little bit before we cut those out. What I usually do is right now I'm using the Hampton Art Stamp Cleaner. And this does just a really good job of cleaning these stamps off, the red rubber stamps. And we're just going to apply that generously on here. The stamp cleaner, and kind of scrub out a little bit. Sorry if my camera's shaking. And then I just take a wet paper towel. A damp dry paper towel, and just sop that up a little bit. Sorry if I'm shaking the camera. And there we go. We have a nice clean stamp we can put away. Always clean up your stamps if you're using them, so you can use them next time. Whoops, that's in the wrong spot. That's where the big stamp goes because it fits there, and this little stamp fits down here. So, all right, let's get on to some other. While that ink dries, let's work on our... Oh, I know what I needed to do. We are sediment. I forgot to stamp our sediment. So we're going to pull off this Life's Sweet stamp. We're going to go ahead and stamp it in this jet black. And I have room on the bottom of my paper to do that. I'm just going to ink it up really well. And we're going to be cutting it out with a die cut. So let's go ahead and stamp that on the bottom of this. This is a craft paper. It is by, let's see, what company am I using? Park Lane, which is from Joann Fabrics. And there's that Life's Sweet. And you know what? I just realized that's not going to be big enough for the die cut. So we just let's just take this over here. We're going to ink this up again. I forgot I was die cutting that out as a ribbon. So we need to put that on a bigger piece of paper. So I'll just grab another piece of paper here. We're going to just kind of stamp that right in the middle. Nice and bold. We'll set that aside. We'll clean that a little later. And what we're going to do is we're going to open up this Hero Art stamp set. I haven't even used this stamp set yet. I was excited about it. Picked it up a few weeks ago and haven't even opened it up yet. So let's go ahead and get this out. This one particular one comes with a 2 banners and an alphabet stamp set. So we're going to peel that stamp set off. We're not going to be using that today. I'll throw that down with my other stamps. And we're going to be using this bigger die here. Usually they have glue on them, and I like to try to get that glue off. There we go. Get that off my fingers. And here's our nice die. And see how that's going to sit in there like that? And then we'll go ahead and take this other one off the tape. We'll set that aside. Put that with my other dies that I have. I have the Darice box. We'll throw that away. And we're just going to line this up here really well. Life Sweet. I want to bring the point of it right up against the words, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be die cutting this out, and then we're going to be tucking it up under one of our borders. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of tape and tape down that die a little bit so it doesn't move and shift on us, and we have it centered nicely on there. We're going to take a pair of scissors, if I can find my scissors here under this mess I have at this table. I'm going to be just cutting this out with scissors. Now, the die cut machine I have is a Richard Gary, one by Fun Stamper's Journey. It's called the Amaze. And there's my template. So there's my, we'll just sandwich this in here. Put the top on there. Run this die plate through. And we'll have our little title box. Sorry for the shaky camera. I know I keep apologizing for that, but that's the, when you don't have a nice, when you're working on a folding table, that sometimes happens. Knocked the light. Okay, let's pull this off. Let's get these paper cutting plates out of the way. And then let's pull this die cut up. And there's our die. Now, very carefully. Now, you see I use masking tape. I actually went to order some that wasn't masking tape, the purple tape that everybody's raving so much about. And you know what happened? They were sold out. So I'm going to get some purple tape here soon so I can use that for my die cuts so it doesn't tear the paper. Luckily this one didn't tear. I'm going to be tucking this so I don't need to ink the sides of that, but I'm going to ink the sides of the rest of it. Just ink it with Distress Ink Vintage Photo that I'm famous for using. It's Tim Holtz Distress Ink. Just give it a little ink to make it a little aged. Then we're going to do fussy cutting some cookies out. So that is done. We'll let that dry a little bit, that ink, and we'll come back to our... Now, when cutting out, fussy cutting something like this, you know, I'm not even being real careful about how I cut. I'm just leaving about an 1/8 of an inch border around them. So it's easy to cut out, and it's like it's a random shape. They are kind of not very circular cookies. They're circular, but not perfect circle. So you don't have to be perfect with your cutting on these cookies here. So, and just about, like I said, about an 1/8 of an inch around there. And we're not going to cut those off so I can get to the other cookies. We're not going to be taking this and edging these because these have a distinct image already on them. So I've got those a little close because I was thinking I was going to put my sentiment at the bottom, and then I didn't have room for my sentiment. So this one, see, this one's a little further apart. A little more room to squeeze in there. So has everybody done their Christmas shopping yet? I know I sure haven't. So there's the fourth one. The reason I cut these off is so you don't have all that paper hanging around. And you can just throw all that stuff away. So far we've made some cookies at our house and some nice Christmas traditional stuff. And I hope you guys are into your baking of your Christmas cookies or getting Christmas cookies off of Grandma or Mom and seeing how we enjoy those so much around the holidays. All right, there's our 6 cookies. We're going to be taking our paper off there, getting our die cut off of here. There we go, throwing that away. And now we have to put our page, finish putting our page together. All right, let's bring our page back here. Okay, what I decided to do with this one is I decided to do I could do two like this, but it covers up a lot of this paper. And I have one on this page that is landscape, but I thought, you know, long rows of cookies or something like that, you know, you would have this nice layout. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take one of these little cookies here. We're going to be taking it and making our odd number of cookies on this page. That leaves us 7 cookies on this page, just in the very edge corner there, and that page is done. But what I'm going to do is we're going to kind of do this so we have some of the paper showing over here. We'll have some cookies coming down the line here, and we're just going to overlap these just a little bit so the photo doesn't actually overlap. So we're going to actually glue this one down first. This paper by Basil has 2 sides. As you can see, this is, I don't know if you can see in the camera, I'll show it up here a little better. My light's not good there. But it's a grained pattern on this side with a very smooth surface on this side. I chose the smooth side, partially because I like the smooth on this paper to look more like craft paper, but also because I got a smudge on this piece of paper. And so on the other side with inky fingers. So I needed to get that out of there. So we're just going to tuck this up here. There's our photograph paper there. We'll go ahead and put this one down. Usually I do 5 strips on a photo block, and that is, and if you notice, I didn't go in real close to the edge, so I can tuck a piece of a picture underneath there if I have to. So there we go there. Now we're going to go with our title page. We're going to put a couple strips of that on, and we're going to be tucking that in right here. Right under that loop, putting down Life's Sweet. Let's lay out some of these here and see what we get. We'll just put that in that one. There we go. All right. That's how we're going to do those 5. So let's go ahead and get our cookies taped down. We're alternating the big ones and the little ones, little cookies. One more. There we go. Life's Sweet. Let's see if we can get this all into frame. And that is an adorable. We learned how to do some die cutting. We learned how to do titling. Oops. And I forgot one. I'm glad I moved that piece of paper. We got to tape one down. Right there in the corner. Okay, let's see our pages together. There we go. Isn't that a great page layout? I just think it is. It's just reminiscent of all those days that we spent baking cookies with my mother and my grandparents. And I hope you can do this tradition this year, is to bake cookies with your family. Next week we'll have another family Christmas tradition, and we'll have to see next week what we're going to be talking about and doing our layout. If you remember last week we talked about decorating the Christmas tree, and so this week is about baking cookies. So we'll see what our Christmas tradition next week will be. See you next week on The Nifty Scrapbooker. See ya!